Come Out of the Shadows is D.M. Needham's latest novella. World-famous singer Grace Fillmore catches the attention of many admirers. However, one individual will go to extreme measures to possess her. With the stalker situation intensifying, Grace's record label enlists bodyguard Dylan Roberts for her protection. As Dylan takes on the role of safeguarding Grace, she notices something she desires, but so does Dylan. Can Dylan stop the threat, or will their attraction become a distraction that jeopardizes everything? Come Out of the Shadows is available on Amazon.com. Welcome to the Better Two podcast. I'm your host, Donna. Today's guest is Shari Rowe. She is back on the show, and we talk about new music. We talk about a diagnosis that fortunately was not cancer and how it changed her life. And, well, we talk about the holidays a little bit. So tune in. Hi, Shari. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. How are you, Donna?
Good. And I guess I should say welcome back because you were on at the beginning of the season this year. And so at that time, you didn't have any new music. You were working on things. You're
Yeah.
working on your radio show. And then both of us kind of had this really wild health journey to deal with. And so even though we had the health journey, you still managed to put new music. You got new music. It inspired you. And that kind of happened to me too. It was like in the middle of chemo, I got inspired to write.
Oh,
And
good.
and so sometimes
Yeah.
even in our darkest moments, we get that inspiration.
Yeah, and I that's the truth. And I've had lots of ups and downs as we all have in life, but this was one of the hardest and I didn't really know what I was going to do at first. You kind of get gut punch, so to speak, and the wind knocked out of you and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I was very braced at first, but I did end up leaning into being creative, and that really was therapeutic for me.
And I think that's a gift of it. You know, nobody looks at it. Everybody's like, "Oh, creativity, it's art or whatever." But there's something more to it because in a way you're connecting with your soul. You're connecting
Exactly.
with who you truly are and
Wow.
you're letting go of all the fakeness.
That is the truth. That is really the truth. And I feel really, really lucky, really blessed to tap into that because I've always really valued being authentic and I've always really valued connecting with people on a real level. But this took me much deeper, and I feel like I am willing to be more vulnerable than I was even before. And I'm realizing that the power that we have in those moments to connect in a way that we haven't ever before.
And I can see that in your demeanor. I mean, not
Oh,
I mean, you still look beautiful. You're still
yeah.
wonderful, but I can
Oh,
see that you're shook. There was something that has just
oh yeah.
shaking you at your core, and it's like
Yeah.
you're still, I don't want to, you've exhaled, but you're still kind of holding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm still processing and yeah, there are practical things that I'm working through and spiritual things and just on a human level, just emotionally still processing a lot. So, and art and music and my community of people, my support system, all of that helps so much. So, yeah,
It,
I'm
it,
still in it a bit and I know you are as well. So,
but like, we talked a little bit off air. It's like when you have a diagnosis or a pending diagnosis that could always come up, it's always in the back of your head that you have to make the most of what you have. And that's not meaning monetary. That's not meaning materialistic. That's meaning of the days you have.
yes, 100%. And I know we've talked before, and I've mentioned
Hmm.
my mom and how she always instilled in us to not miss the moments and to try to, be present. And so that's something I was raised, she really, it's something I value that she really instilled in us. And I thought I really had that, and now it's just on a whole other level.
Well, you always think that, okay, I've beaten this, I've accomplished this, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, we got something else for you. Are you ready for
Yeah. Yeah. It's a refining for sure. It definitely helps you strip away the things that don't matter as much, and um, I'm interested just to see what more comes from it. I really am trying to embrace it. It's been so hard, but I've already seen some beauty come from it, and I'm just going to keep looking for that. I mean, that is. I want to take what I can from it that I need to learn for myself, but I also want to maybe show people that it's possible to go through really scary things and not be terrified all the time.
Well, and I think another thing that comes out of this is at a certain point we are a society in general of people that we have to go 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 do this do that, got this project, got this project, got this project.
Yeah.
And when something like this comes up, you just kind of go, I have to sit down and just, but you still have to keep functioning, but there's still that
Yeah.
whole of I have to ground myself and figure out what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. It's a dance, you know, it's moments when you're falling apart. I mean, let's be real. I mean, like as much as I want to go through this with grace, I mean, some of it is just awful and you don't want anybody to have to go through awful things, but that's the universal part of being human. But you know, it is a dance. It's a dance of like letting your emotions out because you can't hold it in. Like you have to process. And then the moments when you're diving into a project and feeling that rush and that passion for art and or being on stage and letting it kind of, you know, move through me to the audience, which I've experienced on a whole other level, having shared a little bit of my recent story on stage. So,
And you never know who's out in the audience that either has somebody that's gone through that or they've gone through it themselves.
yeah, that's for sure. And I've met quite a few people even after shows, and they've told me their story, and I'm grateful to be able to have that connection because I know I've been a recipient of being inspired by hearing people's stories by, you know, obviously music, certain songs that just hit, you know, in a way that feels like they wrote it for you. I've been the recipient of that. And so to have any of this bring that to someone is, you know, that's like for lack of a better phrase, I mean, beauty from the ashes, really. You
Yeah.
know, it's something, it's the little jewels in the middle of all of it.
So let's talk about Too Good to Go.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that kind of sums up this whole journey, doesn't it?
Man, it really does. You know, I started getting sick about a year ago, January, so almost a year. And nobody could figure out what it was. And 3 hospital stays and 18 doctors in different states and universities and just trying to figure out what was going on. And in April was when they were looking at all the, you know, from a clinical standpoint, it really looked like multiple myeloma. And it turned out to be a very rare autoimmune condition. Only 300 people in the world have it, so lucky me, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's of course, you know how many times I heard over this whole year, oh, you're our unicorn, or you're our rare bird, or you're, you know, it's like, I don't think I want to be here right now. But having said that, you know, it was a scary journey. And when the cancer diagnosis was looming, I didn't really let a whole lot of people know when it was at that point. I was waiting, you know, those couple weeks or whatever for tests to come back. And I went to sing the national anthem for NASCAR, and it was on live national TV, and it was such a great moment. Like I was thinking about my dad, he had served in the military, and just all these feelings. But, you know, my manager was with me that day. He didn't know that I was waiting on these results. He knew I was dealing with stuff, but didn't know that. And my husband was with me. Of course, he knew. So just my core people knew. My bandmates didn't really know the extent of everything. So I went to go sing the anthem, and was really thinking this may be one of the last times I can really do this. And so I just poured myself into it, and it was a beautiful moment. And I got little, you know, little messages, if you will, like from my dad who has passed, and it was a very special day. And I went on the next week to find out that it was not cancer, but in that time period, it got to the point where I had to tell my band, I had to tell my manager, like this was heavy. And so I canceled band practice. It was the night when everything was looking at like it's like the worst. And I canceled rehearsal. My close family members came over and we laughed and we cried and there was every emotion in between and there's food and the kids are running around and Yeah, it still gets me choked up. And I went to bed that night, and a lot of my family members spent the night that night because we didn't want the night to end. So I'm laying in bed, and now the whole house is quiet. And suddenly, like the reality of this hits me, and now I'm alone in this moment. And I wrote this poem, and it was really about not wanting to leave, that I didn't feel like I was ready to go, and how beautiful everyone showed up for me, and the beauty in life in general. And I was trying to just like come to terms with this in my own space. And that poem, when I found out the next week that it was not cancer, I went into a co-write with Stephen Bowman and Zoe Jean Fowler, and I said, I got, like 5 ideas. You're trying to figure out what everybody's in the mood for. Do we want to roll down the windows, driving song? Go through all the emotions because you have to be sensitive to what everybody's feeling. And I said, I do have this poem, and I don't think the poem is the song, but I think the idea and the heart of the song is in this poem. And I told them what had happened, and they're like, we're doing it. So I sent them the poem, and we kind of broke it down. The poem is definitely written as poetry. It's not written in the kind of, lyric style that you would find in a song that's like everyday language. It's a lot deeper than that. So we took this, and Zoe was really great at kind of helping me peel back the heavy weight of the words, and we brought it into everyday language. And it really, I listen to it now, and it really captured this time for me in such a way. Life is beautiful, and I'm not ready to go. But we also, when we produced it, there's this guitar hook at the beginning that's kind of like, there's a lot of tension in it. And I wanted that tension in the production because there was a lot of tension in that moment. So I feel like it's a beautiful song about the beauty of life, but it also kind of is a little haunting because that was kind of a heavy moment. So
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy in the least
yeah.
because everything suddenly hits you and you start processing of, do I have more time? Is this? And the interesting thing is, there's a gentleman I interviewed 3 years ago, and Terry Tucker, and he wrote a book. So he was, at the time when I interviewed him 3 years ago, he was battling cancer.
Wow.
And he was counting the days because he kept battling it and battling and battling it. And I got to talk to him again this summer, and he's been fighting it for 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he's lost his leg,
Yeah.
but that's still one of those things where it's like, when we get that diagnosis, because we have all these, I don't want to say illusions, but we see what's on the media, and this type of cancer is going to kill you, this is going to do this and this, and there's
Right.
not the clarity. It's like the word chemo. Everybody thinks chemo is one thing, and it's like,
I know.
it's
Right.
different for everybody.
Oh, it really is. It's so specific. And every time you're waiting for lab results, it's so intricate, and there are so many. And, one means something, but it doesn't mean this unless you have this on 5 of the other tests, or, it's so personalized and so intricate. It's not simple at
No,
all.
no, no, but it'll make you appreciate the life you have and what you have in your life and the things you need to change.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And like the line in the song, I'm glad that I've got so much to lose, just if we have even a person or any whatever we value in our lives, whatever we've got, it's we're blessed to be able to take the next breath. And none of us, life is fleeting. None of us are guaranteed any moment past now. Um, and most of us don't know what that's going to look like when our time is done. So I think it's just it's the contemplative nature of having even an inkling that it might be soon that I
Yeah.
think really like brings us into this existential territory.
But you didn't only write this song. I mean, you've kind of embraced Christmas, and you have the family gathering song,
Yes.
and we're in December now, so it's gonna you're the holiday songs. What made you decide to do this? Is this because kind of this incident made you feel that you needed to share the holidays and be more family oriented, or what brought this about?
Honestly, this was something that we had talked about for a while. I say we, Stephen Bowman, my good friend and collaborator, amazing fiddle player, violinist. We've been collaborating a lot, and my keys player, Rocky, and of course my husband. And these are all, Kevin plays bass in the band, and we've got the studio here at home. And we talked about revamping Family Gathering a while ago. I have been bringing it up for a while because I don't know if you've had this experience, but sometimes, it's easy to kind of let go of a creative work that we did and we can kind of just let it go and move on, even though we may have done it differently now. But then there's this one thing, like for me, it was Family Gathering. Like I want to go back and reclaim that and make it what I imagined it to be. And back when we did it, I honestly didn't have the experience or the confidence to speak up about what I really wanted. And I couldn't even really define that. So now we tracked the bones of these songs out in Nashville, but then we brought them back home and the auxiliary stuff and the string sections and some of those guitar hooks that I mentioned that I wanted to be more in the driver's seat in production. So we did a lot of that back here in Arizona. So Family Gathering, we had already mapped out Rocky and I, my keys guy, he's my MD in my band too. And we changed the chord progression and it just needed to feel a little more Americana and a little more free. And I just feel like it has a much better voice now. And then the Christmas song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, we've done many times over the years. And it just needed to be recorded. And I'm so excited about this one. I feel like, I don't know, man, it feels so old school in a way. And the vocals, I had so much fun. I tracked the vocals here at home in our home studio. And I don't know, man, there was just like this Christmas magic that was happening. And I was trying these different things vocally. And it's a very simple arrangement. And Stephen Bowman did just two violins and a viola, just a trio, strings trio. And Rocky had this like really great, warm, older sounding piano and then a vocal. And we didn't do any background parts or anything. We just left it what it is. And I kind of felt like I was in an old Christmas movie by the time it was done. It was just had a real nostalgic feeling.
And Home for Christmas, Underneath the Desert Sky.
Yes, that one's getting that. So that one's re-released with the new one.
Okay.
So they'll come out together. So I needed to give that one another shot because it gets played every year already, and the music video is on Heartland Network every year. And inevitably I hear from somebody, they saw the music video, they're sending me a screenshot but that song is so special because being from Arizona, it's not, I don't have the stereotypical
Right.
Christmas. I mean, you can go up north, an hour and a half or so and go up to Mount Baldy and Flagstaff and there's snow. But day to day during the Christmas season, it's usually, 85 degrees or so and everything's blooming and it's just different. If you want to ice skate, you got to go to the rink they built at the mall. And so we really wanted to capture all of that in a song. What is it like to feel Christmas in a place like this? Because we do, and it feels like the Christmas season. So Kerrigan Berry and I wrote that one, and we recorded the music video in the middle of the desert, brought an Airstream out there, and just decorated for Christmas. We filmed the video during the summer because I
Mm-hmm.
had for the winter. So I think it was 115 that day. Yeah, and we had to have a fire, and we had a cookout and we pretended like it was, I mean, pretending like it's winter here though. It's not like we were all bundled up.
Right, right.
It's t-shirts and, maybe a flannel here and there, but that was so much fun. And I love seeing the video come out every year. So I think fans who haven't heard that one or seen the video, I think it's unique and I'm proud of that one.
Last time I went home for the holidays to New Orleans, it was -2 and I left Chicago.
Yeah.
And I got down there and they're all bundled up and it's like I think 40 for the low and I'm like peeling stuff off,
Yeah.
walking around in a t-shirt and they're like, "Aren't you cold?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No." I mean, it
Yeah.
was 60 during the day. I was just like, "No, this is nice."
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
understand.
yep, you get it.
Maybe
Yeah,
not as bad, but I get it.
We want to dress like it's fall. So like it'll be too warm for a sweater and boots, but like you're just wanting that moment. So by the afternoon comes, you come home and you're just like, yeah,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
can't handle this.
We've gone from the weirdest day we had was like it was 80, and then that night it was down to 20 because we had
Wow.
a cold front blowing, and it was just like,
Wow.
okay,
Like,
dress for
wait,
the weather you want.
yes. Yeah. That's
So
funny.
last time we talked, you were working on, I don't want to say a podcast, it was a radio show. Are you still
Yes.
doing that?
We have paused the radio show for now. It's going very well and the fans really like it. The station really loves it. So we'll see what happens. It's just on pause, but uh it we've been able to meet a lot of really great artists here in Arizona and uh there's a specific niche for it and that's the original artist who's also a songwriter. So I feel like we wanted to fan the flame, so to speak. And I think that's going to be a process. I think there are so many great bands here, and there are original artists. I think there just hasn't been a big enough stage for original music here. So we're trying to facilitate that, and we're seeing it grow. So we'll see when the new year comes around
Are you
where we
still
go.
mentoring new artists?
I mean, not officially, but that's kind of who we are, my husband and I, and we have musicians coming in and out of here all the time, and we have a great community here, and any chance we get to kind of chime in, definitely only do that if somebody really wants that. I stay away from, trying to speak into how someone is developing unless they really
Yeah.
want that. Sometimes just has to happen naturally.
So what are you hoping for in 2026?
Well, good health reports, right, for both of us.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Um, I am hoping for, I feel very inspired and there's more music coming in the new year too. And I think more authenticity and more music. And I'm interested to see how that unfolds. I've had a really great time being more involved in production. And I feel like I hear more of what I want now than I did before, like in every way, the instrumentation, even like the bass line, or I don't know. I feel something has changed with that. And so I really want to explore that. So I think there's going to be a lot more new music. We've already got some really cool shows booked for next year, and I think that's just going to grow as well. It's interesting though. I think I'm gonna really see what it's like to be laser focused on what I feel my purpose and my niche is and who my audience is. Having gone through all of this, there's a time and a place to say, oh, this is trending, or this worked for so and so. And there is a time to learn from those things. And I don't think I should ever not consider those things fully. But I'm way more focused on who I'm supposed to be now. So I just want to explore that and I want to see how that unfolds.
But see, that's a gift in itself. If you truly know who you are and you're comfortable with yourself, that is a gift in itself because a lot of people, especially after a big diagnosis, you're like, okay, so who am I now?
Right. Yeah. And I'm asking myself that, and I'm also realizing that I have known certain parts of myself that I felt I needed to change for some reason or tweak or alter. And I don't feel that way anymore. I do feel that we've always got a lot to learn. We all do. So it's not that I'm against, being open to what I need to learn, moving forward. And I think we can always be honing our craft and getting better in that way. But I don't know, like you said, there's just like it is a real gift to kind of just be comfortable in your own skin and to realize that comfortable in your own skin doesn't mean that you're confined. It's the opposite. Like you feel like comfortable in your own skin. I used to kind of process that like I was enveloped by something that was keeping me only me, like so
Hmm.
to speak. But it actually, there's so much more freedom in knowing who you are and exploring that. There's a lot that I haven't expressed because I actually was holding myself back. So, yeah.
And why were you holding yourself back? Was it because what somebody might think of you, what somebody might say of you? Was it something that was how you were, something from your childhood that maybe you did something, I don't want to say outlandish, but somebody
Yeah.
made some comment and that gets tucked
Yeah.
away in the head and you're like, okay, now what?
I think it's a little of all of those things, right? I think the words we hear growing up, the culture that we live in, the way we view ourselves, there's gosh, I feel like it's vast. There are a lot of voices, whether they're our own or somebody else's. And I think there is a very much a grounding that comes from going through a lot of heavy things. Um, and seeing really the way people have expressed my relationship with them, whether it be a family member or a friend or like just certain people showing up during a difficult time and understanding a little bit more how people value you. Not that I didn't feel valued before, but it's like little nuancy things that just kind of hit you different and open you up and kind of relax you. It's very interesting. It's kind of an oxymoron. You know, there's a juxtaposition between the panic of, oh my gosh, this is what's going to happen to me. But there's a calming effect to it. It's sobering in a good way, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, and it's interesting because when you have a diagnosis, you have people that come to you, but then at a certain point, people step away. I've learned this from even dealing with my husband's death. It's like you have community at first because everybody wants to help, but then there's a time and a place where they don't know what to say. They don't
Yeah,
know how to handle it, and I'm just as guilty of being that person for
me too.
somebody else.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's where, I mean, understanding just being human and having, me having grace for people in that situation because I've done it.
Hmm.
The reality is people are living their lives, and
Hmm.
unless you are forced to halt, when I wasn't forced to halt, I was living my life. And that's just the reality. And not everybody can live in it with you all the time. And I think people are going to come in and out of that
Hmm.
as they're able to, or as they can even see it. Sometimes they lose sight because they get back to them, and that's
Hmm.
understandable.
And I mean, what you're saying about, last year, not this summer, but last summer, I was in the middle of a move and I had already started having symptoms and I wasn't feeling great. And my friends were all like, you should go get checked out. I'm like,
Mhm.
I have to get this done. I have to sell my house. I have to move. That can wait. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that ended up making me end up with chemo because I gambled and said, I can
Wow.
wait.
Yeah.
Had I not done that, there's a good possibility I would not have had to have chemo. So,
Man.
so I guess my point is for anybody listening, it's like, so if you start feeling bad, go get checked out.
Yeah.
Stop whatever's going on. Cause you know what? Your life is more important.
100%. And I know like when at the very beginning of the onset of my symptoms, it was a very mild symptom, but I knew something was wrong. And I remember somebody that was with me said, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think I'm like, and I got like, I'm like, no, no. And I already knew before I had the first symptom that something was coming. So I think it's really important to listen to that little voice, It's vital.
Oh yeah. When I went to get my ultrasound done, this was last December. I was getting my ultrasound done. And before the tech walked in, I went to lay down and all I could think about, my grandmother had uterine cancer. And I was
Mhm.
just like, I have cancer. I would not find out till the end of January. But something in that moment was like,
Mhm.
I have cancer. I know I have cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
I
you have to trust that.
You do. You do. And like you said, for those listening, like putting things off doesn't help and it doesn't change the reality of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, be proactive. Life is worth living and it's worth chasing a healthy life. And we all have more to do. You have more to do. I have more to do. We're not done yet.
No, no. And when you were talking about the fact that, there was this creative, one of the songs you just felt you had to redo. I wrote three
Yeah.
books back in 2023, and it's
Yeah.
like I put them out and I pulled them because I'm like, they're
Yeah.
not right. And so that's what I'm in the process of doing, is looking at those and reworking those, because it's just like,
Yeah.
so yeah, as an artist, I understand there's overpainting, but even as a writer, sometimes you're like, nah, I gotta fix
Yeah.
this.
I'm so glad you're getting to do that. That's good. That'll feel really good for you. I think
Yeah.
it brings health,
Yeah,
bringing something full circle, feeling like you presented it the way you wanted to. That's important.
it is. It's very important. And those full circle moments are always important because it shows the journey, the progress that
Yeah,
you've achieved something.
absolutely. Yeah.
One of the greatest circle moments I've had was, I had a picture of meeting John Taylor from Duran Duran. And in
Mhm.
this picture, I'm holding a signed tour program. So back in 2022, I gave him a copy of my book, the first book I
Mm.
wrote. And I'm standing there and he's holding it in this picture. And it's like, if that's not a full circle moment, I'm not quite sure
Oh,
what is.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because yesterday, I was taking out some more of my Christmas decorations and the new family gathering came out. And I didn't realize when I did this that it was 10 years ago that the first one came out. I knew it was a little while ago, but I'm like, wow. And that's kind of cool. That's the 10-year mark. And I didn't realize, but that year, my mom, and I posted about this on social media not that long ago, but my mom had given me a Christmas ornament. And she was Polish, and we come from a Polish family, and we always make pierogi every year for Christmas.
Nice.
And when my dad passed, he was great. He loved pierogi day, and he wasn't Polish. It was my mom's whole side, but he would peel all the potatoes and he would run out and get us lunch and he would do whatever he could to facilitate. And it mattered to him so much that we had the tradition because he wasn't raised with those types of things and it meant a lot. So when he passed, he made a point to tell me, make sure you carry it on. And so when the first family gathering came out, my mom gave me a golden pierogi ornament.
Nice.
And so I took this out yesterday. And the year she gave it to me, it was when Family Gathering came out, and she wrote in this card. And I took the card out this year with the new one that just came out. And I read through the card, and she has since passed. And it said, I remember when Daddy told you to keep the tradition going, and I'm so proud of you guys for doing that. And I love you so much. Merry Christmas and happy family gathering, because the song had come
Yeah.
out. And so now talk about a full circle moment. I took that out and read it when I took that ornament out this year. And I was like, okay, Mom. Like, thank
Yeah. And
yeah.
sometimes, I mean, people don't realize when you keep a card, they're like, oh, it's just, but there's certain pieces of cards, notes, whatever that your family has given you that holds
Yeah.
some meaning and sometimes a lesson. So it's
Yeah.
really important to keep those things.
Yeah, for sure. And of course she did it that way. Like, of course I know she sent me that message yesterday and just those little taps on the shoulder, that are like, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, growing up in New Orleans, we didn't have pierogies. We never talked about pierogies. However, moving to Chicago, you had
Yeah,
to be, pierogies are a thing here.
yeah, yep, for sure.
And so, yeah, pierogies are good. I won't deny that. It's been a while since I've had them, but they're good.
Oh, this is the year you got to go back. You got to have some
Yeah.
in honor of family gathering.
Yeah. And if you, for people that don't live in Chicago or whatever, they still have them frozen. So you can find them frozen.
That's true. They do. They do. Not quite the same, but
No.
they'll give you the general idea.
Yeah. And they have different stuffings. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yep. Fry them in a pan with some sauteed onions, a little sour cream on the side.
Hmm. For now, somebody might want to go experiment. It's never,
Uh-huh.
Who knows? Who knows? So where do you plan on touring next year?
Oh man, we've been re going out up into the Northwest, and that's an area that I hadn't played much in. So, Wyoming, Seattle, and that whole general area, Oregon. We haven't really been up there as much as I'd like to be, and we've established a fan base there this last year. So we'll definitely be getting up there for some more shows, and I really want to get up to the Northeast as well. I have a lot of radio play up there. Um, so, we've got all kinds of things in the works. It's just a matter of what's meant to be and how it pans out. But, I always like to go where fans are either following me on social media or they've been playing my music. And it's always fun to go to a brand new area, but it's way more fun when you see,
Oh,
a
yeah.
face and they come to, to the meet and greet and they're like, they know the songs and, they've been following and it's kind of cool.
So what was it like to get the phone call that you're going to sing the national anthem for NASCAR?
Oh my gosh. I was thrilled, honestly, because singing the national anthem has just been always a special thing for me. I have family members who are still serving and come from a long line. And I don't know, there's just something about that moment. It's different than any other moment for me. And so yeah, getting the chance to do it on that platform at that level, it was really, really special. And then I've done it for a few other bigger events recently, and I did it for the Diamondbacks game, and it's just it's a cool moment because it really does it brings everyone together who's there, That's been my experience.
I just imagine though for NASCAR, knowing that your dad was a big NASCAR fan and getting the notification that you're going to do this, that had to just be like breathtaking, I would assume,
It was so cool
or where it
because
takes your breath away.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so then the following week after NASCAR, I did it for the National Hot Rod Association, and that one in particular. Talk about a message. It was so cool. So my maiden name is Reed. And so I'm up there, I'm getting ready to sing, and I'm on this tiny platform that's really high up. And I'm thinking, wow, they've got three of us. They've got, the announcer, the chaplain who says a prayer, and me. And we're on this tiny little platform. And I'm thinking, wow, this is like, we're right by the edge. Like, I kept thinking
Mhm.
about that in my head. And I'm like, you can't think about that right now. And then these dragsters, I mean, when they're off the line, you're doing the anthem and the dragsters are getting ready to hit it off the line, just not that far in front of you, right? And they're loud and it's like G-force and it is intense, right? So the two teams come up for the first race right before I'm about to sing, and the whole crew is around the cars. And the first car comes in, the crew's getting all set up, and then the second car comes in, and it's Team Reed. So every on the back of every shirt is just Reed, 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 right before I started the anthem. And I'm like, Dad, I'm like, hey Dad,
Yeah.
and it went great. And I was after that, it was like I was able to stop thinking about being on a little platform. I just gave it my all, and I feel like he was with me. So
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's one of those moments where you have all those in front of you. It's like I got
yeah.
you. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
Oh, absolutely. It was so special. Yeah.
So what's the picture behind you?
Oh my goodness, I got a few different things. I mean, I just thought they were beautiful. And then I've got this cowgirl over here in the matchbook, Born
I
to Be
just didn't
Wild.
know if that was a picture you guys had taken, or if just something you
Yeah,
bought.
no, it's not. But I'm gonna fill this whole wall. I want to just make it a gallery of just picturing like jewel tones and just need vibrancy in this room. So it's a work in progress.
Understand. So if you could tour overseas, would you right now, or are you just hesitant and you want to stay close until your health kind of balances out a little bit more?
I mean, I think by the time we would actually get the plan together, I would be far enough along where I wouldn't be worried about that. I do want to go back. I want to go back to Poland. Scotland was great. I'd love to spend more time there because we weren't there very long and we only played a few shows, but Poland is obviously close to my heart and we've been there a couple times and people ask me all the time when we're going to come back from over there. And yeah, I would go for sure. We've actually been talking about planning something over there for next year. So yeah, I'd
It'll
go.
be here sooner than you realize.
I know time's a flying.
So, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to add?
Gosh, I don't think so. I always love talking with you. And now I feel like we bonded on a different level. And I'm so glad you're doing well. And we've got great things ahead. And I think we covered it. I love the fact that we were able to go a little deeper, on just life in general. And, we covered all the music stuff. There's lots of new music coming out. It's coming out of this crazy journey.
Well, every time I have you, I always get a little personal, and I enjoy talking to you. So, thank you for coming back on.
Oh, I feel the same way, Donna. Thank you.
The conversation with Sherry was really good, but I always like talking to Sherry. She's always been easy to talk to. And that's a blessing to have a guest that you kind of feel connected to and you feel that you can have an open conversation. And she's always been open, but this time it was a little bit more vulnerable. And I'll admit that when she was sharing the story about everybody coming over and being there for her, it made me tear up. It did. And, my experience is different and I'm grateful for the people that I had in my time in my life. Um, but I didn't have the big family network. I had a friend come over, my best friend, and I was glad she was here. We went to dinner. And the thing about it is sometimes for me personally, I didn't necessarily allow myself to really let those emotions out. And that's something that I've talked about with some friends this week is because sometimes when you're by yourself and you are your sole caregiver, your sole provider, you keep things tucked away. Even though, yes, I have a therapist and yes, I talk to my therapist, you never let yourself really go down and break down in the emotion. And it's a hard thing not to do that, but it's also something you do to protect yourself because you can't afford to fall apart because if you fall apart, who's going to be there to pick up the pieces? And this is why it's important to kind of keep yourself in check and keep yourself mentally healthy. Look at things, journal, write. But sometimes you have to find that release. And that's been a hard thing for me. And I'm glad that Sherry had that support system to allow her to feel that because the one thing when we think of grief, we think of grieving as somebody dying, but there's also grieving of your health and the life you live and how you can't have that life anymore. I have a friend whose son is pre-diabetic and he's having a hard time trying to let go of all of the things he loves to eat. And so he's trying to figure that out and trying to keep going and trying to move forward, but it's not easy. So the one thing, and I guess Sherry and I should have talked about that a little bit, was allowing yourself grace. You have to allow yourself grace to have those emotions, to have those feelings, and to release them because it's not good necessarily to allow them to just fester. And if something is bothering you, always have a conversation with the person. You need to talk. You need to be open. You need to be available to share your emotion. So, on that note, I'd like to thank Sherry again for coming on the show. I'd like to thank Fast Susie for the intro and outro music. And most importantly, I'd like to thank you for listening. Whether you're listening morning, noon, or night, I greatly appreciate it. And I will catch you next time. Take care, guys. Bye. Oh, and happy holidays.